Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Amour. An elderly couple played by Emmanuel Riva and Jean-Louis Trintignant. They're very cultured, they're former teachers. Emmanuel Riva is a former music teacher. They're an elderly couple, they're very much in love. They go to classical music concerts together, and then one day, early in the film while they're having breakfast, Emmanuel Riva's character just kind of looks off. She's like just looking off into space and she's not recognizing anything, and they find out that she has had a stroke and that her half of her body is paralyzed, and she goes into a surgery which doesn't really work out. And when she comes back from the hospital, she asks her husband that she not be taken back to the hospital, that she wants to stay in the apartment. And so he keeps that promise throughout the film and keeps her in the apartment. And this film is really about how hard that is and how much, obviously, he loves her, that he will keep that promise and make sure that happens. You know, honestly, I'm a little in shock about this movie. And I knew it would be tough. My friend Fernando told me he cried. And if I cry while I'm filming this, I won't be surprised. This film's by Michael Haneke, who did films like Funny Games. And I don't think he's known for being a filmmaker who could really confront something like love in a way that's so genuine and adult and grown up and uncompromising the way this is. When you get married, and I'm married, you know, that's why, see, I have one of these. When you're young and sexy and you're getting married and you say for sickness and for health, you know, richer or poorer, it's very easy to say it, I think. A lot harder to live it. And I'm clearly not old enough to have gone through a lot of this. My mom deals with this with her parents. It's not an easy issue. What Michael Haneke does with this film is he shows it in a way that it's like love. I think in most literature, and especially film, love is shown through a very young perspective. It's fun seeing love that way, but I think what makes this film so different is it's showing the part of love that is at the end of the marriage. Everyone says, I can't wait to get old and have like nice dinners with you at 4 o'clock and then watch Jeopardy together, then fall asleep by 9. That's kind of how you want to view being elderly. But oftentimes when you're elderly in a couple, someone else is going to deteriorate before you. And there's really nothing you can do about it, as sad as that is. When Emmanuel Riva has her stroke and you see her slowly deteriorate, it's hard to do. And it's hard to see, even from a distance, because I don't see my grandparents very much. I live in a completely different state. And seeing anyone from a distance kind of deteriorate when you used to see them be very mobile and be able to have intellectual conversations and hear about, you know, the good old days and things, and seeing someone deteriorate is a hard thing. But I can't even imagine what it's like when it's someone that you are married to and see every day and so much of your world is attached to. What Jean-Louis Trintignant does, you see it through him and how he has to like keep it together and find a way to honor her and look out for her, even though he can't have an intellectual discussion with her after a while because she can barely say anything as it goes on. It reminds me of Bergman in a way, how slow and quiet it is and how long he holds on shots. I know that's something that he does quite a bit, but it's obviously from Bergman, or at least I think it's from Bergman. It shows what it means to love someone even when all these terrible things are happening to them and their bodies are failing them and, you know, their minds are deteriorating. Your love has to get through that. In a lot of ways, I can analyze this film, but emotionally, I don't know if I can even really begin to process everything in this film. And it's so quiet and stoic, but in the end, I'm incredibly emotionally overwhelmed. Amour is confronting something that, you know, usually I am the person probably at the family gathering who's not dealing with the grandparent who's deteriorating and who you can't really talk to. The performances in this film are amazing from both Emmanuel Riva and Jean-Louis Trintignant, big actors in the French New Wave. Jean-Louis Trintignant, a man and a woman from the 60s. Emmanuel Riva is from Hiroshima, von Amour, I think it's called, but they're both major titles during the French New Wave. And I think what adds on to the fact that you're seeing these people deteriorate is that these are fairly well-known French actors. So you're seeing two people a lot older. I mean, Jean-Louis Trintignant hasn't been on screen in something like 14 years. And although I'm not as familiar with Emmanuelle Riva, I've seen pictures of her since I was in my early teens, so seeing both of them together, and they have this amazing chemistry. I mean, you can believe they're married, you can believe that they have this long relationship, you know, they have a very good chemistry together before she starts deteriorating, that you get this sense of long-lasting friendship and camaraderie any older marriage has in it. This is an amazing film, and if you can and are mature enough to get through it and to go to it, then I highly recommend it. To put yourself out there emotionally and let yourself see a part of love that isn't the part that you're really confronted with enough. And I think Amour makes you confront it. And in a way that, like, I think Haneke, when I look at something like Funny Games, he kind of forces you almost sadistically, but this is like forcing you to look at something you really won't be confronted with usually, that you don't want to be confronted with usually, and it's showing it to you. And this film is such a shock in the end that I think it's more shocking than anything he could have done that's, you know, sexier or cooler. I don't know if I'll get over the shock that this film has left me in, at least not tonight, what love really is. You know, when you're really with somebody and you're really with them through thick and thin and no matter what, and how you have to make decisions for someone else, how stoic and how lonely and sad that is. This is like one of the toughest films I've ever seen. This shows a real master filmmaker that Haneke is, that he can present something like this. It's masterfully made with these long shots and the classical music that sometimes plays throughout it, but there's not much score. Almost subdued, but also kind of making you see, and then leaving things out at the same time. You see the effects of the strokes, but you don't actually see the strokes. What Haneke's making you deal with as an audience is something that I think us as a society has a trouble dealing with, because we're more used to kind of shoving this away in the corner and not thinking about something that, whether we like it or not, if we live long enough to be the age of the characters in this film, you will have to deal with it. And if you ever get married, you will definitely have to deal with it if you get to that age. Haneke is a real master, that he can put you in shock, and the shock that this film kind of left me in, and the way it's making me feel is it's truly an amazing film. It kind of reminds me of the supreme power and emotional depth that you can really get from a really great film. So if you have seen Amour and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to. Well, I'm spent.